Hello and welcome back to Quarantine Cooking. Today we're gonna make an exciting old school chocolate cake. We're gonna make it out of like some ingredients you just have in your cupboard. Nothing fancy here. The only thing we're doing differently, instead of using raw eggs, we're gonna use mayonnaise, which mayonnaise really is just raw eggs and some vinegar, and it's processed, I think. Anyway, we'll figure that out. Cake is delicious, it's wonderful. We're gonna make up some homemade icing, we'll do that as well. And we're gonna put this all together and we're gonna show you guys how to do it. So this is a really old recipe. The recipe card that it's on, it's scanned on the computer. It looks like it's at least 50 years old. This thing's been around for a while. The recipe calls for the oven to be preset at 350. We'll bake it at 350, so we'll set that up right now. So how long do we bake it for? It calls for 2 cups of flour. We'll get that going now. So we got 1 cup here. Now the order of the recipe, there's not a lot of details there, but it looks like it has all the dry ingredients first. So we'll go 1 cup. We're not all fancy here. We don't sift our flour. There we go. Okay, the next ingredient, we're gonna need 1 cup of sugar. So I have to make sure I don't cross-contaminate here. Make sure it's nice and dry so the sugar doesn't stick to it. Or we can get all fancy and buy another cup. But you know we're not fancy here, so. Two teaspoons of baking soda. Really like moving ingredients out of the way after I've used them, so I don't duplicate it. I am following the recipe, going down in order, but I have been known maybe to have too much wine, and sometimes I put in the ingredients twice. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but it has happened. Okay, 3 tablespoons of cocoa. Never measure over top of your mixture. I remember learning that in home ec, but I don't think I listened very much in school. Yeah, mayonnaise. We're using mayonnaise instead of eggs. That's pretty cool. I've had this cake. It's delicious. I don't care what they put in it. It's amazing. 1 cup. This just acts as the eggs. Beautiful sound. So I'm not sure if I was supposed to mix the dry ingredients first, but it's too late now. So we're just gonna continue on. Hopefully it works out. That's an old school recipe. It doesn't really tell us much, not much details. Even on the things that has a small t means teaspoon and a big T means a tablespoon. We had to make like 3 cakes to figure that out. Salt, whoa. ½ teaspoon, in. It's my Gordon Ramsay impression. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. And, oh yeah, we need some vanilla, or a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm gonna make the writing bigger on these, or I'm getting old, one or the other. Ooh, the oven's ready. Okay, the good stuff. I'm making a little bit of a mess, not bad. Okay, so now we have all our ingredients together. I'm gonna mix that in a second here. But before I do that, because I'll forget, I'm just gonna take the cooking spray, and you gotta really give your pan a nice spray, make sure it's all covered and everything. Get up the side so it all comes out nice. Try not to get it all over yourself. Just kidding. That would be gross. Okay, and the last thing we need to do before we mix it up is just add 1 cup of water. We're just gonna use tap water. That's how we roll. Okay, so we got that started. I'm just going to clean the spoon off and then we'll go to the hand mixer, the electric hand mixer here. And these things I like to start off a little slow, then I speed her up. Oh, whoa. Pretty heavy mixture. That doesn't take much to mix it up. So you can lick these or give them to little ones to have because there's no raw egg in it. It's not bad for you. Okay, so we're done with this. I'm just gonna move this out of the way. We'll use it for the icing in a second. I'll have to clean up the beaters, but we're going to just get this cake in the oven. So it's looking pretty good. It's all well mixed. And just get it in the pan. And I'll just even it all out, even though that normally just happens in the oven, but. All right, in the oven. Right there. And we'll set the timer for 45 minutes. Just gonna put all this stuff away. Give me some room to work. All right, so now we go ahead and we make the icing. Cake's baking right now. It's not got another 30 minutes left. And the icing that we're gonna make, we're gonna continue on with the dairy-free motif here. I know my wife and I, we do enjoy dairy, and you'll see in some of our recipes, you'll see us loading up the cheese, and we have lots of cream in our fridge. Some people commented on that, that's hilarious. So yeah, half of our family is dairy-free, half isn't. So we'll just look at our ingredients here. Another thing we're using is this is a Quebec maple syrup, and it's in a little milk jar. We get it in cans. A friend of ours sends it to us from Quebec. This is like major Canadian kind of yummy icing recipe and nothing to it. But we do add lots of maple syrup, so it's gonna be wonderful. So now we're just gonna get the ingredients together for the icing. We still have lots of time. I think we're on 21 minutes left there. Cake still has to cool, so we have lots of time to make this. So we're gonna use the Baicel vegan, which is a dairy-free option. The recipe calls for a quarter cup of butter, but we're just gonna use the Baicel instead. So now we got that in there. So now we'll just grab the salt. We need a ½ teaspoon of salt. Whoa. That's why you don't measure over top of your stuff. Crazy, man. Okay, now we'll need 1/3 of a cup of our awesome Quebec Canadian maple syrup. So now we need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Throw that in there. 1, 2. Cheers. Now we'll need 3 cups of icing sugar because we're not sweet enough. Again, no fancy sifting here. I know a baker's gonna say, dude, you gotta do it right. You gotta do it a certain way. I'm like, honestly, I don't even know about that stuff, so it's all good. It still works out. That may be messy. Looks like Al Pacino went nuts in this kitchen. Say hello to my little friend. Okay, so we like to do a lot of recycling or reusing in this house. So this instant coffee jar, we put our coconut milk in. So we're gonna use the coconut milk. We're gonna use that jar. We use the coconut milk in place of milk, and that gets us our dairy-free option. So we need 2 tablespoons of that. You know what? I'm gonna fake it. Throw that in there. Just gives us some texture. Maybe a little bit more. I think you can taste the coconut a little bit, but it's not bad. Not a bad flavor. So now we'll mix all the ingredients together. But you know what? I'm gonna use the hand mixer. That'll make it way easier. I'll just grab this thing here for the spatula so I'll make a mess of the cupboard. No chocolate cake for you, you poor girl. Okay, here we go. We get this electric mixer going. No, I won't. Maybe I will. Oh, you can really You really taste the maple syrup. That's why this is such a great Canadian recipe. It's awesome. Whoa. This recipe, actually, with this much icing, you'll probably do a couple of cakes with it. So we usually make a cake, we'll make some icing, and then we'll save the icing, and then we'll have to make another cake. So the icing's all done now, and so what we'll do is we have 8 minutes left on the cake. When the cake's done, we'll set it on the stove there, we'll let it cool. Once the cake's cool, we'll ice it up, and then we'll enjoy it. Yay! Cake is done. Ooh, looks really good. Okay, so now we just gotta test it. Grab a toothpick. It's an old school cake, so we have to use an old school method to see if it's ready. We just pull that out nice and gently. And if we stick that in theory, pull it out, and if it's clear like that, she's good to go. I am the lobster cuckoo cuckoo. Man, that looks perfect. Okay, so now we'll just let it cool and we'll come back and we'll hit it with the icing in a little while, and then we'll just leave it, and then after dinner we'll have a nice slice of cake. It'll be awesome. The cake is nice and cool, so we'll just move it over here, and now we're gonna look at icing it. We'll just pop the container here. There it goes. Make sure not to scrape the edges too much. I'm gonna put it on a plate, I think. Sweet. Whoa. The chocolate cake with this awesome maple icing. It really turned out well. Just like stuccoing a house. All right, there you have it. It's an old-fashioned chocolate cake with the maple icing, homemade icing, and we're gonna have to give it a shot here now. Give it a shot. Nice and moist. Smells amazing. Wow, that's really good. Holy. Tastes nice and fresh. It's really light. You gotta drink it with milk. Oh, that's good. Okay, well that's it for today's episode of Quarantine Cooking. Super easy cake, really easy to make, and absolutely delicious. Something you share with your family in times of crisis like the quarantine here, where you're all sitting around getting fat anyway. And if you do happen to make one, send us a picture. We'll post pictures. We've had a lot of feedback from a lot of folks, and people are really enjoying some of our recipes, and we really want to see what you're doing with it. If you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to our channel, hit like and post a comment. We're very happy to hear from you. And if anybody has any suggestions on any kind of stuff that you'd like us to try to make, go ahead and post it on there as well.